First off, I just gotta say that is a beautiful song. Like, I really like that song. A lot. Um, I guess first off, I'll just say, my bad in advance. I am not feeling the best. I absolutely hate being sick, so bear with me. Um, start this off first. Right, there we go. Appreciate it for the assist. Um, Starting it off with this verse here, John 8:36, and it says, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed." And so, while I was going over, when he asked me to do the testimony, I was just going over. I'm like, man, what am I gonna say? You know, I could give my life story, right? Because I feel like I'm a walking testimony. Um, you know, but God told me to narrow it down, and so I did. I was obedient. So first, I'll just give a quick little backstory, just so it can make a little bit more sense. Um, you know, I come from a big family. I got 10 siblings. Had a single mom, and she worked hard, right? That's where I got my work ethic from. But, realistically, she's a single mom with 10 kids. So, grew up in poverty. Um, and with growing up in poverty comes a lot of things you get exposed to early, whether that's violence or, drugs or whatever the case is. And so, um, I guess what the message would be for this testimony is deliverance. It's beauty in that. So, um, trying to see where to start. This all coming off my heart too. So if it seems a little scattered or whatever, we just roll with it. It's Holy Spirit, Holy Spirit led. And so, guess we'll start just small. Honestly, I didn't like smoking weed and all that. Didn't get involved in it, right? Been around it my whole life, obviously, everybody, friends, whatever. I always hung out with a lot of older people. So, I mean, that's what they were doing. I just said, that's fine. It is what it is. Y'all do y'all. I'm one of those people, if you know me, it doesn't really matter if a million people doing it, if I don't really have you know, care for it. I don't get peer pressured. I really just don't care. And so I remember too, I made a promise with my grandmama, and when I was little, and she said, just promise me you don't ever, smoke. And so, going further in life, broke that promise, and so that's something I got to live with. But, life goes on. Know better so you can do better. And so, going towards their college, my freshman year of college, I had a roommate, and obviously first time being kind of on your own, really, because I stayed on campus. For your freshman year, you had to stay on campus. And so my roommate was one of those. He just, from sun up to sundown, he was gonna smoke. That's just what it was. And same with his friends. And so one night, just one of those nights, right? Having fun, partying, whatever. And they was like, a whole group was like, oh, just come smoke. Just smoke one time. Just smoke one time. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm all right. They're like, bro, you in college now, bro. Just go ahead and smoke, bro. Just one time. Just smoke. So I'm like, that seed getting planted. I'm like, I guess one time won't hurt. I am in college now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm. It shouldn't be that bad. And so, I did that because there was another thing. They were like, "Oh, it's not addictive. It's not addictive." That's a lie. That's a lie. It is addictive. And so they like, "Oh, just smoke, bro. Just smoke." So I finally just said, "You know what? I'm in college. I feel like I'm grown now. You know what I mean? You get around 18, you start thinking you grown. You can, you know." So did that, and boy, did it open up so much, so much. Like from then on, it was just, because the first one is nothing like the first one. And so, music, because they were playing music, and that's instantly what drew me first, because I love music, right? And at that time, like, I was making music like every day. And so they had a song on, and it changed the way that song was. Like, it sounded so much better. And so I'm like, oh, wow. And so that's how the devil had, like, drew me in. It was from music, because he knew that was something that I loved. And so the music sounded so much better. I'm like, oh, snap. And so that was the first time. Waited a day, whatever. I was like, okay, that was kind of cool, though. I was like, all right, that was different. So then I did it again. So I'm like, oh, snap, this is kind of cool. Started listening to music. I'm like, okay, I wasn't tripping. Music just does sound better like this. Then I did it again. And so it became this cycle, because I was making music, so I was starting to try to, like, make music while doing that too. And it just became this, like, cycle, right? To the point it was I can smoke, and then I can go a day without it, or 2 days, whatever, or a week. And it became 3 days I can go without it. And it's like, nah, I just want to get high all the time. It was so bad, I was starting to go to class high. I didn't care. I'm like, hey, I was going to algebra high. It started making sense, but, I'm like, this not good. This not cool. And I got an addictive personality too. That's just how my family is anyways. And so I remember, like, no joke, I remember sitting, because my dad, he dealt with, like, drug problems too. And I remember sitting on my dorm bed, because I really felt like I couldn't stop. Like, I would be like, I'm not finna smoke today. And then I somehow find a way to smoke today. And I remember sitting on my dorm bed, and I said, this must be how my dad felt. And I wasn't, like, super religious at the time, but I remember I prayed. I said, God, can you just, like, can this stop? Like, can this stop? I don't want to go down the path of my dad, right? Like, please, can this stop? And I'm not joking. The next time I got high, I've never had this happen ever. I had a panic attack. And so I didn't know what it was, so I thought I was dying. I thought somebody maybe did something to it, or I don't know what was going on. But I was panicking, and she could tell you, I called her, because we had just kind of started talking at the time too. So I called her, and she was at work, so she didn't answer, but I was, like, freaking out. And so, to the point that I had to call the ambulance, because I was like, am I finna die? This ain't the way I'm trying to die. And so that one, that stopped me for a while, because I was kind of on edge. I was like, nah, that wasn't normal. So that one stopped me for a while. Then I said, okay, I'll try again. Maybe that was just a one-time thing. Had a panic attack again. And this one was worse. So I was like, okay, nah, I'm good. So this is where the story takes a turn. So, school was ending, so I was going back home, and I had a childhood friend that, we grew up together, like brothers. Like I know his mama, his little sisters, everybody. Like, so I used to go over there and like, we spend nights and stuff like that. And so summer was, it was summer break or whatever. I was like, all right, cool. I'm finna head down there with y'all, and I'll chill for the week. He was like, all right, cool. And so went down there, and I found out, I don't know how the conversation started, but I found out he started smoking recently too. And he had never smoked. And so I'm like, oh, man, I don't know. I've been having panic attacks, bro. I'm good. And he's like, oh, you'll be good, bro. You just need to just smoke around, like, people you cool with, bro. Like, cool. So I was like, all right. You see the constant theme here with smoking? You keep finding excuses and ways to justify it. And so I said, all right, cool. You right. Come on, let's try it. And so, boom, we started smoking again. And I didn't get a panic attack this time. And so I was like, oh, yeah, we good then. And it just started back. That whole weekend, we was just high. And so, and I mean, I started noticing we just doing outrageous stuff. Like, because, we still in his mama house. So and she don't know he smokes. So we going to, it's like there was an apartment. So they had like bathrooms and stuff. We'd go all the way down there to the bathrooms and smoke. We could have easily got caught and, you know what I mean? All this crazy stuff. And I remember just thinking like, wow, this is crazy. So I remember I went back to school, and then I started meeting people because of weed. People coming up to me, oh, you smoke? Yeah. Oh, let's smoke. Let's smoke then. And I don't know, just the type of people you meet too, I started noticing like, they ain't even trying to be friends with me for me. They just trying to smoke. You know what I mean? It was like, y'all really like fiending. Then also, like, I don't know, that maybe it's just me, but God gave me this type of discernment, right? That's the gift he gave me, is discernment. And I can read people, like the real them. And, I think from smoking kind of heightened that too, because when I'm sitting around, it used to be a whole lot of people we all share and all that. And I just remember just feeling so uneasy with these people. I don't trust y'all. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. Like, something not right. I just could not get comfortable. And so I started with like, nah, I'm good. I think it was this dude from Chicago. He was like, my bad. And I remember he was like a front runner. He always wanted to smoke with me, but like literally wouldn't talk to me during any school, anything, but other than trying to smoke. It was like, that's kind of weird, but whatever. Now I remember the one time I told him, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna smoke with y'all. And I tell you, he was hot, like mad, like you would have thought I don't know, killed his dog or something. He was mad. And I'm like, does we have that much power on y'all? And so I said, okay, well, that's cool. Again, me being me, I don't really care about, all that extra stuff. So I remember I started finding people. I'm like, all right. Because at first I was only getting it from like my, roommate and stuff. Then I started advancing. I'm like, all right, who got it? Who's selling it? Because I'll buy it. And then I started realizing, like, later on down the road, I'm spending, again, in poverty, I'm spending a lot of money on this. Like, I'm sitting in a broke college kid, and I'm trying to find money to smoke rather than, what I need. And so I'm like, okay, again, this got to stop. This got to stop. And I'd be trying. I'm like, all right, I'm going to stop. Then I do it again. And so I remember, boom, this is where the the real thing happened. So I went. It was another break. Went back with my friend, childhood friend, and I remember it was another night. His mom had left. I don't know why she left. And so we knew it was like, oh, we got Super Bowl. We smoking in the house. We like, that's whatever. And I remember smoked. And then I went. I was like, all right, I'll be right back. I got to use the restroom. And so I went to the bathroom. And then it happened. Oh, man. Like I told y'all, I've talked to God before, and then I've talked to Jesus before. And this was Jesus. And it was like everything had just stopped. It was like the world had just stopped. And I turned around, and I'm telling you, I saw Jesus. And first off, this is how I know it was Jesus, but first off, it was like the peace that I got. I cannot explain it. It was just absolute peace. Like, I had no worries in the world. I was just peaceful. And I remember him, he was just saying, like, you got to stop. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was kind of like a brother. Like, I couldn't even be mad. I was just like, you're right. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, I can't even try to wiggle around it. Like, you're right. I'm doing wrong. I got to stop. But it was like, he was telling me in a loving way, but like it was like a brother. Like I said, God was more like authoritative, like a dad, I guess. He was like, you don't love me enough. But this one was more like a brother. And so I remember I was just talking to him. And mind you, again, I was not religious at the time. And so, but I knew it was Jesus. And I mean, I'm just talking to him. It could have been maybe an hour. I don't know how long. It was, no, I'm sorry. It was like, I was talking to him, but it did not feel like it was long. But then I heard a knock on the door and like kind of woke me up out of everything. I was back. And so I'm like, it was my friend. He was like, you good, bro? And I was like, yeah. He was like, bro, you've been in there for like hours. And I was like, there ain't no way. Because I just walked in there. And like I said, it was quick. Like, he just told me, like, you messing up, not doing good. And like he said, it had been hours. Did not feel like it at all. And so I remember I walked out. And we had like a whole lot of weed and stuff. And I told him, bruh, I can't. I can't do this no more. I can't. And so he's like, what are you talking about? Bro, the smoking, it's got to stop. And so it kind of, I don't know if it scared him. I don't know. He was like, I've been feeling the same way too, though. Like, I feel like I can't stop. And so we kind of opened up and got real about it. And no joke, we grabbed all the weed we had, went down to the dump, and threw it away. And I told him, we told each other, like, bro, we're not doing this no more. Like, it stops here. Like, right now, it stops. And, you know, fast forward now, I'm just blessed enough to say that does not have a hold on me anymore. Now, transparently, did it stop right there? No, I wish. But the frequency went down, 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 to the point I was like, I'm good. Because again, I started trying to make excuses on music. Then I said, I'm good enough to make music without that. Like, that's a talent God gave me. I don't need that. Then I had to separate myself because I had to put music down. That's how much I love God. If I knew that one of these music was a big factor of contributing to that, I put music down. So I started opening up my Bible and I started learning. And I said, okay, look, I love music probably more than anything on this earth. Do I want to give that up? For God, I will. Put that down. Then the type of friends I was around, same thing. They was trying to, I gotta separate myself. I can't, because I'm seeing y'all doing it. It's gonna, you know what I mean? I had to separate myself, so I lost a lot of friends during that season too, but that's fine. And so I feel bad because, like, that friend, we went two different trajectories because he's still smoking to this day, like, bad. Like, I remember we reconnected, not just briefly, and I remember him telling me he can't stop. And it just saddened me because it could have been me. And I'm trying to tell him, you can stop. And he's like, no, I can't stop. And so, I guess what I'm trying to say is, back to that verse, you can't stop. And don't let things just, you might not think one time is a big deal, but it is. It is. Like, I'm just thinking back from that one time I said, okay, I'll just do it one time. And that opened up all of this. It's stuff I've never even cared about it, to the point I couldn't function without it. So that one time does matter. But I'll just add this last thing in. This is how I know I've been delivered, and I thank God for it. Just recently, too. I got offered to smoke. And it was a test. It was like a test. It really was. Literally going on about my day, got blindsided. It's like, oh, do you mind if I smoke? I said, no, that's your business. I don't, I'd rather you not, but, It's like, okay, cool. I just like to ask. Yeah, cool. Then next thing I know, trying to smoke? Nope. Nope. I'm good. So I'll just say, y'all, I know I've been seeing a big thing on my timeline over and over and over. Like, I don't know, God's just been just putting it in my face where, like, people are trying to justify, like, oh, you can smoke and serve Jesus. No, you can't. No, you can't. It tells you in the Bible to keep a sober mind. Keep a sober mind. Wouldn't put that in there for no reason. See, when you smoke, you open yourself up to possession, to demons. You let your guard down. That's just what it is. Honestly, like, when I smoked, I didn't even feel like myself. I felt like a whole different person. But I had to realize that's because I was a different person. It was demons in me. I was allowing them to roam free in me. So my biggest thing, if you don't get anything out of this, like I said, if you are smoking, stop. The way to stop, Jesus. It's that simple. And if you haven't started smoking or whatever, you ain't missing nothing. I promise you not. You ain't missing a thing. Amen. I'm good. I'm done.